I spent a lot of time outside. We had a lot of acreage I could hang out on and play a lot of sports outside. We had a basketball net and had a soccer goal for a while, four-wheeler dirt bike. So I still kept myself pretty entertained, even if there wasn't a lot of people around to hang out with.
Yeah. So you said your sister pushed you to the side. So would you say you weren't close with her growing up?
Yeah, growing up, we definitely weren't super close. We were 4 years apart, so just kind of different stages growing up. Probably pretty normal for that. I think once we got a little older and she started college, we kind of grew a little bit closer together. Just we were both older and started to have maybe some more similar interests and stuff we enjoyed to do.
Okay. So, since you weren't close to your sister, would you say that drew you closer to your parents?
Kind of depended. Sometimes my dad traveled a lot for work, so he wasn't always around, so that was kind of hard. And then my mom worked full time too, so didn't always see them a lot. So don't know if I really built a strong relationship there, just because, again, I was kind of home by myself a lot growing up. And then once I got older, I wasn't really around much. Once I could start driving, I'd go hang out with friends more, and now had a job and stuff, so didn't really see them a lot, I guess.
Okay. Would you say you're closer to your mother or your father?
I guess maybe my dad, just since we have some similar personality traits, so there's some stuff that we can kind of relate on, even if it's not like we don't do a whole lot together, but we have somewhat similar interests and personality traits, like I said. So that's that'd probably make me a little closer to him than my mom.
Okay. You come from a Christian background?
Kind of. Went to church on Sunday, but that's about it.
Okay. Do you personally have a relationship with Jesus?
Yeah. Once I got to college, I kind of had to spread my own wings, so that kind of allowed me to figure out what my faith was to me, and not just kind of what I do on Sunday when my parents go. So, yeah, I would say kind of being out on my own definitely helped grow that, gave me some more opportunities, and was able to meet some more people to kind of help me along the way there.
Okay. So, were your parents of any support or encouragement as far as your faith journey goes, besides showing up on Sunday mornings, or were there the other people that you mentioned that were more of that support?
I think it's more of the other people that were support. I mean, my parents weren't like against it or anything, but I don't know if they were a whole lot of help. I guess it was more of they're kind of there and were like giving me a thumbs up rather than like supporting me along the way.
Okay. I grew up in a spiritually divided home, so I can understand some of that, and so that's why I'm asking some of these questions. Did you get to see any like strong Christian parents within your friend group, for examples?
Yeah, I had a friend named Garrett whose parents were really good examples to me. They're like a second set of parents. I spent a lot of time at his house, so got to really know his mom and dad and kind of hear their stories and how they came to faith, and then they were always very encouraging to me and supportive. So that was, I guess they were good influences in that aspect.
How did they encourage you on a deeper level in your faith as compared to your parents?
Whenever I was like over at their house, there would always be like conversation brought up about the Bible or different aspects of faith, or just like discussing different topics, and so it was like an open conversation at all times, so it was never weird to bring that up or like unusual. So just kind of like a constant reminder, I guess, or a encouragement as we were just hanging out. And they would always, make sure to bring that up somewhere in the conversation and ask me how I was doing, my faith and whatnot.
So you mentioned it wasn't weird or anything like that. Would you have used those kind of terms at your home when talking about faith in your house?
If I talked about it, it was pretty like surface level. Didn't really get too deep. It was more just like basic morals almost, I guess, rather than like theology discussions or going beyond just like the Ten Commandments. There's more, yeah. So it wasn't as, I don't know what the word is, but yeah, didn't go as deep, I guess.
Okay.
Um,
So, seeing both worlds, how did that impact you at all as far as like your feelings towards your parents?
in the moment, I don't think I really thought about it too much. I just kind of, that's how it was, so I didn't really put too much thought into it, but like, looking back now, it definitely kind of, I don't know if it was annoyed or angered, disappointed, I guess, that my parents didn't do as good of a job or care as much about encouraging me in that way. It's more of like a, I guess disappointment would be what the word would be.
That, do you foresee this like influencing your marriage as far as future children and how you raise them?
Yeah, it's definitely made me think of like how I want to raise my kids and like how I'd want to be like Garrett's parents and make sure I'm involved in what they do in their faith and encouraging them, and just kind of being positive examples. And like once they would leave my house, they're grateful for the experience they had, and like they just leave a little more prepared, I guess, and feel like sort of feel like like we kind of were good examples to them and not like absent what they did.
Do you think your parents' lack of spiritual leadership in your home has influenced your feelings towards them?
Yeah, kind of like I said, it just kind of left a little disappointment once I actually got out on my own and kind of looked back at it. So I don't know. Yeah, I'd say it definitely kind of made me feel less close to them and less like I could go to them with anything. More like I kind of had to filter what I do around them rather than just being open about anything.
So, would you describe your parents as apathetic spiritually or lukewarm, or?
Yeah, probably both of those would be pretty accurate. Yeah, like I said, Sunday morning was church and everything else. Past that was just kind of whatever you want to do. So they're pretty lukewarm and didn't really care. They definitely they still wanted me to not like cuss around the house or like watch inappropriate movies and whatnot, but it was more of like just because they're trying to be parents rather than like from the aspect of faith, I think.
do you know your parents, or not your parents, but your family's history as far as like, is there like a history of spiritual apathy, or is it
Yeah.
something that just suddenly dropped off?
On my mom's side, there definitely was, because she talked about growing up. I feel like seems like they pretty much did what we did. Just Sunday morning, you go to church because that's the thing to do, and then after that, to really change anything you do in life. I think my grandma kind of got a little more serious later in life. On my dad's side, my grandpa's pretty serious about his faith. He's a little more. He's a bit legalistic on some stuff. Very Southern Baptist. So that's a kind of on a full other side of things. So that's definitely an interesting comparison.
So would you say your grandparents had any influence on your spiritual?
Not really. I didn't see them a whole lot. They lived pretty far away, so that made it a little hard. But the only thing was like with my grandpa, just making sure you act right and what's not around him, so you didn't make him disappointed or mad with whatever you said or whatever you were doing. But not really an influence, I guess, on my faith.
Would you say your family struggles with the idea of that it's not really about a relationship with Jesus, but more like building an individual up morally, just to be a good person?
Yeah, I think they definitely lean to being it more about morally, or just like, what's the word? Just like the, I can't think of what the word is, but like, it's just what you do is you go to church just because like the area where we're from, small town, rural area, just kind of everyone goes to church, so that's what you do. Yeah.
Okay. How would you change that in your own family now that you're married? Like, what have you put any like thoughts into like what you want to implement now that you have your own family and breaking that cycle in your family?
Yeah, I try to be definitely more involved in my church, like in a Bible study and like signing up for service opportunities, in order to grow and make it less of a Sunday morning thing and more of a life changed thing. And yeah, I want, like, obviously whenever kids would come along, to like for them to see that and to recognize like it's not just a community thing you do on Sunday just because you're supposed to, but like there's a reason behind it, and like it's good to be involved in the growing community there and to serve others there.
Have you been able to practically plug into your local church that you attend?
Yeah, like I said, there's a Bible study I'm in once a week. That's been very helpful. And then, isn't really in my church, but then I have another Bible study with friends from college that I still do. And then I'm on a service team at church that does like yard work or stuff around people's houses that they can't get it done. So that's been a good opportunity to serve and kind of get plugged into the church.
Oh, that's great. Well, like we've already talked about, it sounds like your family struggles with the Bible just being meant for good morals, but also, would you say also too, like legalistic a little bit too as well?
Yeah, not I don't think a whole lot of legalistic. Like my grandpa, like I said, is, but maybe my parents, I'd kind of have to ask them if that's what they, why they still made me like, you know, not swear and stuff, because they think that's like what makes you a Christian. So I don't know. I'd have to kind of look into that more on my own. I haven't really thought about that.
Would you be interested in looking into that more?
Yeah, it'd be kind of interesting to see where my parents are coming from and kind of why they do what they do and maybe us do what we did. So yeah, that'd be interesting to look into.
How about the next time we meet, we discuss a little bit more about that and maybe look into what the Bible says about those different issues. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
All right. Well, appreciate you coming, and I look forward to our next meeting.
Yeah, thanks for meeting with me.
All right.